Hello everyone, welcome to Zero Labs. Today is Monday, November 19, 2018, and the saga over the Samsung piece of crap refrigerator. Remember the Samsung refrigerator? Yes, the saga that began on August 24th of this year is almost over. So, what am I doing with a wood-splitting awl in my lap? Funny you should ask that question. I'm about to tell you. So as I started out by saying, this whole saga began on August 24th. August, September, October, November. Yeah, so almost 3 months I have been without a properly working refrigerator. And in that course of 3 months, dozens of telephone conversations with Samsung tech support, all very nice people, okay? I feel badly for all of these people who work for Samsung because they have to represent and they have to defend a company that absolutely does not care about its customers. In the course of 3 months, I started out generating, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 support tickets. 9 support tickets were opened and closed. In the course of that time, I had to hire a repairman who is not an authorized Samsung repairman, because none of the authorized Samsung repair facilities would even touch this piece of crap. They don't service sealed systems. My diagnosis was a bad compressor. The compressor is warranted for 5 years, parts and labor. Okay, that was my out. And I had to prove that it was the compressor that went bad. And here is how I went about proving that the compressor went bad. The first thing I did was I measured the temperature inside the ice box. Here is a picture of the thermocouple device that I used to actually measure the temperature of the inside of the ice box. And yet here is a shot of the control panel showing the temperature, or showing what the refrigerator is reporting as the temperature. Notice it says -2 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's what happens. In order to reset the computer in this refrigerator, you have to unplug it and disconnect power. When you plug it back in, the computer will actually tell you what the correct temperature of the freezer box is. So if the thermocouple measures 25 degrees Fahrenheit or 30 degrees Fahrenheit, the control panel at the top will display the correct temperature for about 2 hours. At which point the computer starts to say, well, you know, I've been really working hard at trying to cool this freezer box down. It must be at -2 because you told me to send it to -2, so I'm going to tell you that it's at -2. Never mind that it's still at 25 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? This is the order of events as they occur in the failure mode of this refrigerator. Now, as I stated in my previous video, we started having problems with this thing about 1 year after we bought it, with water in the crisper tray. That was symptom number 1, that the compressor was beginning to fail. But the refrigerator would not tell you that the compressor is beginning to fail. This is called a misleading practice. Okay? This is called covering up a designed to fail component on the refrigerator that is going to force you to buy a new refrigerator before it's time. Okay? That's how this works. The next symptom that I ignored was the fact that not only did I have to defrost my refrigerator multiple times, but ice cream just wasn't getting as hard in the freezer, you know, and I kind of ignored that symptom because, well, it was still frozen, you know, it was still edible, and the stuff, the meats that we would put in there, well, they were still frozen, but they really weren't ice, you know, as cold as I should have recognized that symptom. I should have recognized that symptom because obviously the compressor had begun to fail to the point where the ice cream wouldn't freeze rock hard like it's supposed to. And then finally, I opened up the freezer drawer one day to a carton, milkshake carton rather than an ice cream carton. And I thought, okay, it's time to start taking some measurements. To rule out the possibility of a bad thermocouple, I actually took the refrigerator, pulled it out, and used a voltmeter connected to the control board and a thermal and a conversion chart that I found online that tells me exactly what the voltage is supposed to be at the controller board for a given temperature in the freezer box. And in fact, the thermocouple was reporting the correct temperature to the controller, but the controller lies to the consumer when you open up the refrigerator and it says -2. It's not -2, okay? So to rule out all possibilities, I replaced the controller board. I bought a new one, I installed it, did exactly the same thing. Put the old controller back into the refrigerator and returned the new controller board that I bought from the eBay seller. Thankfully, he was very courteous and accepted my return without any argument whatsoever. So I want to thank that eBay seller for taking back his controller board that I spent probably $70 for. That would have been wasted money. I also replaced the evaporator fans inside the freezer box, but that was only part of the problem. The evaporator fan, of course, failed because the refrigerator was trying too hard to cool down the freezer box when it couldn't because the compressor was going bad. So anyway, after dozens of phone conversations with Samsung and promises that they would replace my refrigerator, it finally came down to, oh, gee, we're sorry, Mr. Customer. We don't make that refrigerator anymore. We can't replace it. Okay, so what will you do for me? Well, we can give you a refund. Okay, so now this started a whole new round of battles on the telephone trying to get them to cut the damn check. It was not until I threatened a lawsuit through the Attorney General's office of the state of Connecticut before they finally cut the check for me. I got them to reimburse me for the refrigerator, the price that I paid for the refrigerator. I got them to reimburse me for the cost of the service repair that I had to hire to confirm my diagnosis, and I got them to pay me for the spoiled food that we accounted for in the refrigerator. That is almost enough to buy a new refrigerator. And guess what? It won't be a Samsung. It will be a Whirlpool, which is very well rated and gets great reviews. I've never had a single problem with a Whirlpool refrigerator. Hopefully I will not have any problem with the next one. And the Whirlpool refrigerator is due to show up tomorrow. But in order to receive any of these payments from Samsung, here are the canceled checks, right? All three separate checks, separate service tickets, of course, for each one of them. But in order to receive this, I had to agree to a certain set of terms and conditions to be reimbursed. But quite frankly, I was very happy to get the reimbursement rather than a replacement because it means I didn't have to buy the same brand. Perfect, right? Even better. So I'm glad that they didn't replace it. I'm glad they refunded me. But here are the terms and conditions that they want you to sign in order to be granted the refund. Okay. Acceptance of the refund represents full and final settlement of claims as follows. A, I agree that I will not sell, resell, use, reuse, nor attempt to seek further compensation for the product that is subject to the claim. In other words, this is the final settlement. You get nothing more. That's fine. It was a fair settlement. They paid me everything that I paid for it. All information provided to Samsung in connection with the claim, including but not limited to name, address, phone numbers, email addresses, etc., is true, accurate, and current. Yep. Samsung has the right to cancel, reject the refund if Samsung is unable to obtain satisfactory evidence of requirements. Fine. Here's the kicker. I agree to release Samsung Electronics America Incorporated and its predecessors, successors, assigns, parent, employees, subsidiaries, divisions, affiliates, and or any entity doing business under the Samsung trade name of and from any and all claims, actions, causes of action, sums of money due, attorney's fees, suits, debts, covenants, agreements, promises, demands, or liabilities whatsoever in law or in equity, whether known or unknown, suspected or unsuspected, foreseen or unforeseen, anticipated or unanticipated, that I now have or may ever have had against Samsung as described in, arising out of, or in any way related to the claim. I swear, I can't make this stuff up. You just can't make this stuff up. Translation. I agree not, in order to receive this compensation, I agreed not to sue Samsung. Okay, Samsung, I will not sue you. But you damn sure cannot stop me from talking about it and warning every one of you about Samsung. Okay? You have been warned. You have been warned. Please heed the warning. Well, that's all for now. Please stay tuned for the next episode when the new refrigerator arrives and I take out a few frustrations on my old friend here. Thanks all for watching. Hope you had fun. Please rate, share, comment, and subscribe to my videos. And peace, everyone. What's going on, Flynn? You good boy?